After 2 weeks of uncertainty, Prince Charles finally appears in Winchester. With tensions in Ukraine rising, Winchester holds a peace vigil. And there has been cybersecurity concerns as the threat from Russia rises. Good afternoon. The royal family has been hit with a bout of COVID recently, but Prince Charles has managed to escape the confines of isolation to visit the newly named Ark in Winchester. Alistair English was there to meet him.
Prince Charles had to wait 2 weeks before seeing the statue he was due to unveil. The crowd, media and local leaders gathered in anticipation to get a glimpse of the future King of England. Before His Royal Highness arrived, reports said we weren't going to be disappointed.
Well, he's fit and healthy, which is the main thing.
And we weren't, with Prince Charles upset he couldn't make the original visit.
I'm so sorry he's not here the last time.
Despite his absence last time, crowds still gathered and were pleased that the Prince took time to talk to them.
It's quite surreal, right? Because
he was, as all, very friendly. He seemed to have all the time in the world. He spoke to as many people as he could. And he was charming and delightful, as he always is.
it's quite interesting to see him in person.
It was a very massive London. It was still good.
Yeah, it wasn't massive crowds like I thought it would be.
No.
I got to get in and say hi.
It's been a worrying time for the royal family, with Prince Charles getting COVID, followed by Camilla and then the Queen. But the day went ahead as planned, and the crowd were pleased to see His Royal Highness looking well. Alistair English, Winchester News Online.
From an undisturbed royal visit to the hope of a peaceful future, a peace vigil at the Abbey Gardens this week saw hundreds gather to show their solidarity with those currently being affected by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Harry Turberfield was there.
On a cold, rainy night in Winchester, hundreds gather with lanterns and messages of support for the people of Ukraine after a horrifying period of conflict that seems to be getting worse with every passing day. Whilst the support is overpowering, there is also a sense of worry about what the war could mean for not only Ukrainians, but also those living right here in Winchester.
Vladimir Putin has recently announced nuclear action that may be taken against the UK, and with Winchester just on the blast zone should the nuclear bomb hit London, residents are worried that it might impact their lives directly.
Nobody wants to have a nuclear war. In fact, we don't want any war whatsoever, which is why we're all standing out here tonight in the pouring rain. And I think it really demonstrates the anger that people of Winchester feel about what is going on in Ukraine.
We've never been allowed to get so powerful. It's terrible. There is only one way to stop him because he won't negotiate. He doesn't listen to any Western ways. It means nothing to him.
I think if they react with nuclear action, it's not very clever. I personally think what should happen is a no-fly zone over Ukraine and a lot more help from not just from the UK but from all countries.
If Putin were to use Russia's infamous Tsar bomber with a blast radius of roughly 37 kilometres, the predictions of nuclear action on the UK see Winchester just on the cusp of the blast radius, and whilst the likelihood of nuclear warfare remains low, Winchester's message remains strongly in the support of refugees and the people of Ukraine in such a troubling time. Harry Turberfield, Winchester News Online.
Now, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine may prove only to be half the battle, as European attentions turn to cybersecurity in the wake of an increasing Russian threat. I looked into the troubling reality of a cyber attack in the modern era. A war against humanity, an attack on freedom. But as Russia continues to advance through Ukraine, Europe is on high alert, acutely aware of the threats that Russia can pose to European cyberspace. What kind of impact can a serious cyber strike have on a nation in the long term?
We cannot survive as societies and humanity now without digital data. I could send a massive stream, multiple terabits of data to a retail website or to any form of website and take it offline. Worse still, if it happened to a substantial degree, i.e. attack and then remove all your data or compromise all your data, it could be the end of a business, it could be the end of a nation. A cyber attack right now can cut a nation off the global map altogether.
Cyber attacks can have a profound effect to numerous industries, but what impact could a cyber strike have to Winchester?
We don't have to look too much into the future. In the past, in 2017, we had a very famously a cyber attack of the NHS consisting of a ransomware called WannaCry that consisted on a number of critical files being encrypted and with the cyber criminals holding the decryption key. So and they were promising to destroy it unless that ransom was paid. Regarding the University of Winchester, we have put security first, even though it's not always popular with students and with even staff.
University staff have been doing all they can to prevent hackers accessing their data. They've added multi-factor authentication to all their systems, but as the threat level rises, will this be enough? For now, as companies look to secure their digital assets, the phrase, "It's better to be safe than sorry," has never been so fitting. Alex Franklin, Winchester News Online. With the unveiling of Licoricia, another statue of a remarkable woman has been added to the UK to celebrate our history. Izzy Higgs was there to look into why this may be a rare sight.
We use statues and sculptures for many things, from celebrating people's achievements to celebrating their lives. So why are there so few of women?
There's the fact that kind of sparked everybody's imagination was the fact that it was 8% of sculptures and monuments depicted animals, 4% depicted named women. So that's the one that obviously everybody really went, oh, when I'd worked this out myself, I was like, oh, actually that's very, very interesting.
Several organisations are compiling records of statues across the UK.
All these statistics that are flying about are not very robust. One of the reasons we started the database was to try and get as many of the women's sculptures, statues, recorded properly, so that there is a proper, it's never going to be 100%, but at least a more reliable figure.
Art UK's study into the statues of Britain should finish in June. But until then, here's some information we know about London. 79% of statues dedicated to named people are dedicated to men. Male subjects include royalty, military figures, politicians, writers, artists, designers, and actors. Most of the statues of named women are dedicated to royalty, particularly Queen Victoria. While women are still underrepresented, things seem to be changing for the better.
There are many, many more statues of women being created at the moment. Suffragettes are going, there are a lot of suffragettes, and suffragettes we didn't really know about. You know all the sort of the main names, and most of the main names have now got 2 or 3 statues actually.
Izzy Higgs, Winchester News Online.
From statues to figurines now, the Gurkha Museum in Winchester is undergoing a renovation, and Tom Hooker has more.
Turkey out of the war. The Allies landed on the Gallipoli Peninsula in April 1915.
The Gurkha Museum in Winchester, the only one of its kind in the country, has plans to redevelop. The site tells the story of Nepalese soldiers recruited for the British military and houses some of their oldest artefacts. The museum is not just special for its uniqueness though, as it covers a part of history still writing itself today.
Gurkhas have served this country very loyally and with considerable sacrifice for more than 200 years, and they continue to serve today. Just about every role in the British Army has a Gurkha element to it, so they're a very, very fundamentally important part.
Upon opening to the public in the 90s, the museum was state-of-the-art, with multimedia interactive displays and lifelike immersive exhibits. 30 years on, however, it plans to redevelop in order to showcase the modern history of the Gurkhas.
When we do redevelop the museum in the near future, we will be doing our very best to ensure that not only are new and amazing objects on display, but that the way we tell stories is up to date, the way we interact with those who come to our museum is up to date.
I think it's fair to say that when this museum opened, it was the cutting edge of military museums, if not museums in general. What people expect of a museum in terms of the standard of its presentation and the way it tells its stories is different. The brigade has changed, the army's changed, Nepal's changed. We've got to change the museum to reflect those different voices and to bring it up to date.
The museum has begun its fundraising now and hopes to see the work completed in 2024. Tom Hooker, Winchester News Online.
Their aim was to steal the Gurkha.
Celebrations are underway for the Basingstoke Creative Stitchers, who are marking their 25th anniversary with an art exhibition. Nyana McGee has more.
They've been designing, crafting and stitching together for 25 years, and it's about time for a celebration. The Basingstoke Creative Stitchers are marking the occasion with their Picking Up the Thread exhibition. The display shows over 100 individual pieces of artwork, including 28 specially dedicated to the group's 25th anniversary.
Well, when we first heard that we could exhibit here again, we were delighted. It coincided with our 25th anniversary, so we decided a project would be we'd go and buy a load of frames and say, look, this is your frame. We would like you to put something, to create something to go in this, celebrating a silver anniversary. No stipulation except that it had to have at least one silver thread in it.
The pieces on display vary from large wall hangings to pieces of art that can fit right in the palm of your hand. A variety of different media has been used to create the unique pieces, varying from traditional embroidery techniques to more contemporary textile and mixed media art.
The Stitchers have made a long-awaited return to the mill after their debut exhibition 2 years ago. Both staff and visitors of the silk mill are thrilled to have them back.
It's been fantastic. We've had such a lot of people coming, and we've had a lot of people coming specifically to see it as well, which is great. You can tell that people enjoy it because the amount of time that they spend looking around, and I mean, every time we walk through, just having a look, there's always something that catches your eye. So yeah, it's really, really lovely.
Members of the Creative Stitchers will be stewarding the exhibition until its end on the 27th of March, providing discussions and demonstrations on how they produce these intricate and unique pieces of art. Nyana McGee, Winchester News Online.
Throughout March, there's a fundraiser to help out life-threatened children, and Kurt Hill has more.
Throughout the month of March, volunteers put themselves forward to do sponsored walks, runs and cycles to raise money for the Naomi House and Jack's Place Children's Hospice. I followed 4 of these volunteers, Emma, Darcy, Lena and Charlotte, doing one of their sponsored walks.
Last year we raised £38,000. We have lots of teams taking part, so we have our sponsors for to match that number from last year for sure.
The goal for each volunteer is to run 105 miles and raise £105 throughout the month of March.
It will help out like a lot of people, and it's just like something that I think everyone should take part in, just to help out other people. We're going to plan a few more walks and maybe some runs, so then we can get our fundraising up. I heard about Naomi House and Jack's Place through our society because we had a charity ball that raised money for it.
Other fundraising events are organised for the hospice throughout the year, most notably the Clarendon Way Walk and the Winchester Santa Fun Run, and altogether around £30,000 are raised for the hospice and the life-threatened children it takes care of. Behind me is the point of the fundraiser, Naomi and Jack's Place Hospice. They help around 600 children with life-threatening conditions. There are many of these hospices across the south of England. This is Kurt Hill from Winchester News Online.
Friday night means live music at the Railway Inn, as a nearly cancelled show went ahead against all the odds. Torrin Budd reports.
A storm was brewing in the Railway Inn as My High prepared to headline the venue for the first time.
Ready, sunshine?
The alt-rock band was supported by One Dead Thief, speaking of witches, then the headliners took to the stage.
This morning we were fully committed to just cancelling the gig because it was going to be a peak one. We thought we were going to get stuck somewhere out on the motorway, but no, it was alright. Yeah man, never been to Winchester before, so excited to be here. Railway in, it's going to be a good night hopefully.
Just having fun with it until we've got like solid sections, and then from that point it's more of like a collaborative effort.
Single that is soon-ish to come out. We just need to sort out the promo and everything for that, PR, and a few other things in the works. So yeah, just trying to keep on putting content out and just keep playing gigs really.
Kind of going to all their gigs in 2019, I was just mates with them and I just really like their music. So when they had a couple of members leave, I was like, yeah, pick me, please, pick me. And then I got a phone call from Dan. He was like, yo, do you want to join?
Torrin Budd, Winchester News Online.
The skate park by the River Park Leisure Centre seems to be saved, thanks to local petitioners. And Charlie Swadling has more.
The skate park located at the vacant River Park Leisure Centre was recently part of a plan where the University of Southampton would be given control of the leisure centre. This worried local residents and skaters as there are not many spots in Winchester for young people, and it was initially feared that the skate park would be redeveloped into something else along with the rest of the site. However, after a petition set up by locals gained over 3,000 signatures to keep the skate park, the council has reconsidered the decision to keep it.
Absolutely, it stays in its sort of current configuration. You know, it's very well supported. It was supported with grants and investment when it was first put in. And the university want to keep it too, apparently, based on conversations we've had. So that's probably a good sign for the skate park, that it will remain part of that whole redevelopment of that site.
I will be speaking at the Cabinet meeting on Wednesday about this, where they will be making the decision whether to go ahead 100% with the University of Southampton deal. And there I will be reiterating what my petition said, which was to pause for thought, take 6 months out, gather ideas from the local community, just to ensure that that everybody's been listened to. At this stage, I feel like not having the public consulted on this, we haven't explored all of the possibilities that are out there.
Although it is one of very few hotspots for young people in Winchester, petitioners and particularly the skating community will be satisfied with the continuation of the skate park. Charlie Swadling, Winchester News Online.
And finally, Grace Benson goes to Winchester Cathedral to take a look at their annual Pancake Day race.
It was hard to forget that it was Pancake Day in Winchester thanks to the cathedral's pancake race. The event had been long awaited since it last happened in 2019 and saw around 40 teams take part. Participants weren't only competing for the fastest time, but were also being judged on their costumes. Despite some fantastic efforts, it was Mums on the Run who took home the Best Dressed title.
My son here is one of the head choristers at Winchester Cathedral. He was running, and as parents, we thought we'd decide to deliver our purpose, which is to be embarrassing parents and run as well. I've turned up as Tom Cruise from Top Gun because I felt the need for speed. And
we were the mums on the run, all the chorister mums, all complete with our bottles of gin and our telegraphs.
Just to support the local charity and have a bit of a laugh along the way as well. So it's been excellent, good fun.
The event, which was put on with Winchester's Rotary, also had the cathedral's snack vendors serving pancakes throughout the race.
As well as being a great day out, today's event has managed to raise great amounts of money for a local charity.
Yeah, it's been a great day. I mean, it's raining, but it's March, isn't it?
So, you know, we have to put up with these things. But no, it's a great day. I mean, people are turning out, and you have to look around. You know, everyone's having a good time. There's a lot of screaming and going on, and that's just a scream of joy. And Friends of the Family is such a personal thing to all of us because we're all part of a family. And it's so easy for families to get into trouble through no fault of their own. And if we can support those few people who are giving up their time just to help them out, it can only be a brilliant thing.
After having a significant break due to COVID, the race brought together Winchester and was a huge success, with talks about next year's race already underway. Grace Benson, Winchester News Online.
And that's all we've got time for this week. Bye-bye.